Good morning, everybody. I slept okay, but I'm still pretty tired. It's about 5:30. I've got the tent mostly packed up inside, and for breakfast, I got my coffee and Rocky Mountain Scramble again. Not so much. It's not that I chose Rocky Mountain Scramble, but it's a pain in the butt trying to dig inside that kayak to reach the freeze-dried meals. So it's usually whatever I can grab first is what I eat. Honestly, most of the time. So yeah, the sun's slowly rising over there, and I'm gonna get packed up and get on the water. I'm thinking today might be a little bit of a shorter day, and I can get to a campground or whatever and get some chores done this evening. So that's the plan for today, and it is just as usual, absolutely beautiful here. Okay, I've got everything cleaned up. And I've got a pile of stuff here on the edge of the river. I just have to get it down to the boat and get it loaded, and then I'll be off. I'm on the water. It's a little bit past 6:30, and I'm hoping it's going to be a good day. I'm a little tired. There was a storm that rolled by last night. Like, I could see flashes of light and like thunder was rolling, but it never actually rained, so it must have went like right past us. I never actually got out of the tent in the middle of the night to look at it, but so that was interesting. But yeah, hopefully it'll be a good day. It's one upset beaver. So I was told that the farther down today, the more and more it's going to look like Badlands. So more dry and barren and weathered. So looking forward to that. And it's again just a beautiful day. Nice little set of rapids here. Nothing to really worry about. So the hills are starting to get a little taller, and I was reading today that I should keep an eye out for bighorn sheep, so I'm pretty excited about that. We'll see if I can find any. I do have like a monocular, like a sighting glass, and so I will be watching the hills today, see if I could see anything. Unfortunately, if I do see something, probably won't be able to pick it up on camera unless it's, within 20 feet. But we'll see. And just another amazing day so far. It's a little warmer than I'd like, but that's okay. These hills are awesome. And there's like one chunk right there in the middle of the screen of the like white cliffs sticking out there, which is really interesting. It's the last piece I've seen for a while. And these hills have gotten a lot more pointy and, arid. And, there's just a island beside me that's very, very much not arid. So it's crazy the difference between like that hill over there and this like green island right there. I'm really enjoying these hills. They're really, really cool. Got some cows in the distance now, so that's interesting. The Hagadone Homestead. So I got the boat tied up down there, and I'm gonna go check it out. So it looks like there's an old log cabin there and some kind of little tiny homestead here. So there's a couple old buildings here and kind of a little house that it's got a new fire stovepipe sticking out of the top, so it's definitely used at some point. And there's some old horse-drawn equipment on the other side. Looks like an old hay cutter and maybe a harrow, and I'm not sure what the handles are sticking up out of the ground. But very cool. Guess I'll go check out the other place over there. So this one had kind of a walk-in entrance here. I'm being real careful. I've got my paddle with me, watching for rattlesnakes. But here's the homestead. It's an old log cabin. So it turns out I'm not a very good historian. I kind of forgot to look up the history of this place before I got here. And there's obviously no service, so I can't do that now. So I'll look it up later, and you should Google it too. There appears to be a boat shoved in there. Very interesting. There is more horse-drawn equipment over here, which is really cool. And just an old log cabin. So there's an old hay rake, the frame of an old wagon. Here's the tongue. Another hay cutter, sickle cutter. So there's an old disc here. It's got a set of wheels up front, and a cultivator here, or harrow. And so this is a 3-bottom plow here, and this appears to be a corn planter. So very cool. Just an old graveyard of old machinery, and it's really cool that it's out here where it was used, most likely. So I will definitely be looking up the history of this place once I have service this evening. But very interesting. So if you're wondering how I know what the heck most of this is, my father has collected machinery like this pretty much my entire life. So I've spent a lot of time around this kind of stuff, and it's really cool. That was really interesting to see. It's 9:30. I've got the sunshade up, and I'm back on the water. I actually have a bit of a tailwind today, so that's pretty exciting. And these hills just keep on growing a little bit bigger, and definitely more arid and very cool. There is some like white cliffs up there just sticking out of the top, and this mountain just has a giant chunk of it poking out the side. It's crazy. It looks like a piece of it just got set there up against the hill, even though, you know, it's 100 feet tall. Pretty cool. Here's a closer look at that big old chunk of white rock where I'm beside it now, and it's just sitting on top of a little hill there. Crazy. And then there's some sticking out of the hillside behind it. These hills are just getting cooler and cooler. That's for sure. So it looks like I'm coming up on Stafford Ferry. So this is Stafford Ferry. It looks almost identical to the other two. Really interesting. So it's 11, and this is my view. I just went over like a set of like rapids, and no big deal really. I just had to pull the drive out and hand paddle through it. It was only probably a foot deep at the shallowest section, but went through it with no problems, and just thoroughly enjoying these hills. It's only 11, but I'm kind of hungry, so I'm going to start snacking a little bit. I have some Peak Refuel peanut butter chocolate chip cookie bites, a spiced caramel apple mule bar, and a Powerade, all tucked into the hatch in between my legs. So every morning before I start out, I usually put whatever's lunch right there so I can get to it very easily. So this is the McGarry Bar campground. It's literally just Cottonwood Grove, and it's currently closed. So we're just gonna keep on going. I've been scanning the hillsides, and the first thing that I saw is what looks like a coyote. So that's really cool. Saw a flash of movement, and it's walking up over the top of that little hill there. And it's gone. That's really cool. It's the first wildlife I've seen other than cows and birds today. So, but other than that, the hills are just amazing here. And I'm just cruising down river. So it looks like the next campground is about 20 miles away. So I don't know that I want to go all the way there today. So I might be staying on the side of the river. But we'll see. It's only what, noon I think. So yeah, almost noon. So I've got time to decide. There's some really cool rock formations over there, but I don't think the camera picks them up too well. But even regardless of that, this is some really, really interesting country. So I'm really enjoying my tailwind, and the sunshade is an absolute lifesaver. Like, the sun is pretty warm out, but I'm doing just fine underneath here. So, having a good day so far. So I've been floating by these cliffs for most of the afternoon, thoroughly enjoying it. But right there is the reddest piece I've seen the whole time. There's been a couple like red patches of dirt, but that is actually like bright red rock right on top. That is really cool. Really gives off the like Badlands feel. Kind of a mesa. Pretty interesting. It's about 12:45. I pulled off onto the bank. I got the boat staked down, and I think I saw the remains of a log cabin up on top of this bank. So I'm gonna go check that out. I also am very excited. Not really. I have to use the bathroom, which means I get to use the disposable toilet to go. Woo! I'm excited. Definitely won't be showing any of that, but you know, something to be something different, I guess. So I'm gonna go up there and check out what this homestead is. So there's a closer look at that like bright red point right at the top. So as it turns out, there's a log cabin there and one right here. So I don't know pretty much anything about this, but a very cool old log cabin. I can't imagine just living out here in the scrub brush next to these like almost badland hills. Crazy. And there's the river right there. I see something over there. So this must be an old root cellar or storm shelter, probably both. That's really cool. Things basically completely collapsed, but it's still a big old hole in the ground. You can see what's left of the roof. Cool. And I'm gonna go check out the other. And there's cactus pretty much everywhere, with most of them flowering. So there's a set of like posts here, but this one is actually 2 cabins. So I don't know if there was multiple families here. One of these is the barn. I don't know. It's really interesting because there's this one, and then this is the real big one. It's crazy. All the logs that had to be dragged down here. Some of these are quite large, and the nearest trees are, you know, almost a mile away on that slope. So crazy. And then there's the other cabin in the river. But it's just really cool to see an actual like original log cabin. Not that it's standing, but still really cool. Here's another like storm shelter slash like root cellar. So I don't know what the purpose was, but it's definitely a hole dug into the bank with like blocks stacked around it, and it had what looks like a roof at one point in time. So very cool. So I'm back to the boat. It's just down the bank, and every time I leave it and come back, there's always just a small like, oh, thank goodness the boat's still there, no matter how well I tie it up. But yeah, I'm gonna transfer some water into my water bottles out of the bladders, and I think after that I'm gonna keep going down the river. I also get to take this with me down all the way to James Kipp State Park, where I can probably dispose of it. So woohoo! Get to store this on the boat now. So it's 2 o'clock and just got some beautiful hills. Still got the tailwind. I'm enjoying that. And yeah, it's a good day. Looks like there's another homestead or set of log cabins behind this tree. Okay, it looks like there's at least 4 structures here. So I'm guessing one of these was the barn. This is definitely the biggest one, along with a big root cellar / storm shelter on the side. That's really cool. And then up here, this one's almost completely intact. Wow, this is definitely the most intact one I've seen. It's still got part of a roof. So it looks like it's 2 rooms. There's some cabinets and then a second room in the back there. And it's there's still chinking in between most of these logs. So I don't know if this one's a lot younger. It is, I see a lot of nails, but the other one had some nails in it. So I don't know. Very interesting how well this one has survived. So there is a pile of logs out there and 2 more buildings that are pretty collapsed here. So here's one. This one doesn't look like it had much of a door, so this one might have been some kind of like stable or barn. And here's the other one. It still does have a door on it and some kind of metal, maybe an old stove, I'm not sure. But yeah, this must have been one heck of a compound here once upon a time. And as always, surrounded by some crazy cliffs. It's like another root cellar storm shelter thing. This one's actually still mostly intact. It's pretty hollow down in there. I'm definitely not crawling down in there though. So pretty cool. And there's just a bunch of old fence posts around from an old fence. Alright, gonna get back on the water. So Google Maps says that this island is named Sturgeon Island, and the hillsides here are just as awesome as ever. Very Badlands-esque as it has been all day. It's 3:30 and I'm going to start looking for a possible campground. See if there's a really nice one, and we'll just keep going. Okay, it's almost 5 o'clock. I'm more than halfway to James Kipp, so that's where I'll get to tomorrow. So I decided, I set up all the solar panels, and I think I'm just going to stay here on the side of the river. There's a flat spot right there. Just set the tent there and have an enjoyable evening. I'd like to get my myself and maybe the clothes I'm wearing washed this afternoon and dried, and then go from there. I've still got to edit the next video too. Alright, so for supper I have the classic chicken fried rice from Mountain House. I'm looking forward to that. And I still got to get the tent set up, but one of the downsides to the Hilleberg tent that I have is, one, it's really good for storms, but it has very poor insulation, so it's pretty warm. So I usually I've been trying to wait till it cools off a little bit more to set it up in the evenings. And other than that, I've just been editing videos. It's been a relaxing afternoon so far. Okay, I ended up going for a swim. Got a little bit cleaner, maybe a little bit. And the sun's about to set. I got camp all put away, and the video is almost done uploading. And I'm ready for bed. So with that, I'm going to say good night, and I'll see you in the next video.